This is a Hot Pie Original.
Welcome to the Gray Area Podcast with me, Chad Fisher. No more.
Yo, it's Aaron Cheatham. Yeah, we out the house, boy.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gray Area Podcast. I am your host, Chad Fisher, along with my co-host, Mr. Aaron Cheatham. Aaron, how are you doing, brother?
I am fantastic.
That's great, man. We're really excited today, man. We got an awesome guest via Zoom today.
Yes, sir.
He was a regular on HBO's show Crashing, which was an awesome show.
Yes, sir.
Great show about stand-up comedy. And he's also
Is that what that was about?
Yeah, dude. You haven't seen it?
No.
Dude, it's awesome. Yeah, there's so many like awesome cameos in that show.
No, I haven't got anybody's login for HBO in a while. So
I'll hook you up. We'll see how the interview goes. He's also a semifinalist on America's Got Talent, on Last Comic Standing as well. Very, very funny comedian. We're honored to have him, Mr. Dan Naturman. Dan, how you doing, brother?
Good. How do you do? Is it still possible to see Crashing on HBO? I don't even have.
I watched it as recently as probably 2 or 3 months ago, I would say.
Oh, I guess so. It's still in the archive.
Yeah. It's a great show, man. It's amazing. I didn't finish the whole series, but yeah. It was
know HBO ain't letting go of nothing. They gonna keep them things. I mean, I was able to watch the newsroom.
Just keep them in the archive.
Yeah, man. They if they can still get a penny off of it, they gonna rock it.
Why not?
HBO ain't letting go of nothing.
No.
Dan, it's good to see you, man. Good to have you on the show, brother.
Good to be here.
Before we get too deep, real quick, you want to tell people, about what you've been doing lately? I mean, with everything that's been going on with the pandemic, how you been holding up?
Well, I have been doing some stand-up. I was just recently in Aruba, the island, Aruba, in the Caribbean, and we were doing shows there. And so that was nice. I've done some Zoom shows and some in-person shows very rarely, and I finished a novel that I'd been working on that I started before the pandemic, but finished it up during the pandemic, and have been working on editing it and trying to get it into shape.
That's awesome, man.
Man, so you've stayed very busy.
Super busy.
Well, I wouldn't say super busy. I mean, all what I just mentioned to you does not take up, did not take up an enormous amount of time compared to the amount of time that that I've been in lockdown. But
that's a lot more than what I've been accomplishing. Mine would probably be my credits for the pandemic would probably be amassing a vast collection of Cheetos. That's about like all.
You know what, Dan?
I haven't done that, but I have been snacking.
Did you know you can get a giant thing of cheese balls on Amazon for like $3?
Oh yeah,
it's like a tub. So
I like Cheetos. There's a restaurant, or it's a restaurant / grocery store around the corner from me that sells this French high-end version of Cheetos.
Oh, Jesus.
Called Krusty. And I'm very much addicted to those.
Yeah, I can see why.
A high-end Cheeto?
I know, that's what I want to know.
A high-end Cheeto?
Does it come with like a wrapper or something?
A high-end Cheeto.
You have to unwrap each individual Cheeto and shit?
No, it's not. It's got actual cheese on it. That's all.
Oh, there we go.
It's made with Emmentaler cheese, which I guess is sort of a fancier.
Wow!
But it's a little bit, I think, more flavorful.
So it's like a thoughtful way of getting diabetes.
yeah. I gotta.
Well, you have to get it.
Yeah, you might as well do it with the
might as well
cheese.
do it with class.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty dope. Chad, how's your week been?
It's been great, brother. I'm a new dad, so dude, sleep is at a premium right now, but it's been amazing, man. I've been having a good week. Brothers in town visiting from New York, and just kind of hanging out.
Word. Dan, we do this segment on the show where we like to give a shout out to people. So we're going to do that real quick, and feel free to jump in if you have a shout out that you would like to give to anybody that you know in the industry or in life in general that you feel could use some recognition. So Chad, you have for your shout out, do you have a tip of the hat or you have a flip of the cup for this week?
I guess like a tip of the hat, man. So I guess my shout out is going to be William Shakespeare is the first person in the UK to get the COVID vaccine. This shit is hilarious, man. It's like, dude, they couldn't have wrote this shit any better, you know?
William Shakespeare's the first one?
Yeah. All the world's a stage, man. So,
oops, sorry.
no, you're good. You're just jamming.
Oh, I thought my Pornhub came on. I was like, right now, not right now.
Yeah, we're in trouble. What about you, brother?
I got a flip of the cup this week. And usually I'm the positive one when we come into doing these shout outs, but I got a flip of the cup. As you know, I've been having car trouble for the past couple of weeks. Took my car in yesterday to get fixed, and I'm not going to mention the name of the company because they might want to give us money. But I'm just going to say my dealer, I took my car to them, and they're like, yeah, we should have this done by the end of the day. The end of the day comes. They never call me, which is terrible customer service.
Yeah.
Terrible customer. You don't call? I started calling him at 2:30 yesterday. Yeah, it's like, I guess he'll figure out if we don't call him that we're going to keep his car overnight. Like at 5 o'clock, I finally get a hold of somebody in another department, and then they get me to my people to let me know, oh, well, you might need to get a rental car.
Jesus.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Terrible customer service. Terrible. And then
Mr.
Literally less than an hour ago, before we started the show, they called me and they're like, yeah, actually, we're going to keep your car till Monday. That's the worst.
They're just like driving around in it.
Yeah, basically, I'm pretty sure that my car dealer is actually a coyote, and he's using my vehicle to smuggle some stuff right now. So it's just annoying as hell when you got to deal with mechanics. And right now, they got me in a sour mood. So a flip of the cup to you, local car dealer, holding on to my car for a whole week. That's my shout out. I'm not going to say your name, but you know what? The guy that I've been talking to, his name is Hunter. Hunter, you're trash.
That narrows it down in Austin.
Hunter,
I'm sure there's only a few Hunters in Austin.
Hunter, you're a trash human being. So that's my shout out. That's my shout out. Dan, you have anybody you'd like to shout out?
Well, something just thought of actually. There's a guy, AJ Tessler, out in Los Angeles, whose daughter is suffering from a rare genetic disease called Rett syndrome, and he just made a movie about it, a documentary, which is inspiring and heartbreaking at the same time. But you can go to magnoliashope.com and see the movie, or donate, or just learn about Rett syndrome.
That's awesome.
You know, so
it's way better shout out than us.
Yeah, no, that's the proper use. That's how you were supposed to use it.
With some meaning, but it's also
that's awesome. Check that out. Let's drop that website one more time. What was it again, brother?
It's Magnolia, like the flower, magnoliashope.com.
Sweet.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, check that out.
You guys definitely go check that out. Support Dan. Good looking out. That's a great shout out. That's a great shout out right there, Dan.
Well, thank you. It's a shout out to just because I just happened to watch this morning. I just happened to watch the documentary.
Oh, that's great.
No, that's beautiful. Also, something we like to do early in the show is talk to the younger generation. These guys say that they're doing it for the culture, but they don't actually know the culture, because I asked several people under the age of 25 if they had ever heard the thong song, and only 1 out of 15 people had heard the thong song, which tells me that this younger generation... No culture at all. So Chad and I have taken it upon ourselves. If you don't know the thong song, your culture is trash. To kind of, give you guys some like what's things, cliff notes.
Yeah.
Cliff notes of some cultures, things you need to go back and check out, because it was actually worth a damn, and you'd probably be a better human being if you were up on this stuff. And this week's holla back is DMX. If you haven't, if you're not up on DMX, then I don't know what rock your parents raised you under.
He single-handedly saved the pit bulls from being like, they were so fashionable after.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody wanted to raise a pit bull to be in a music video. Like the next rapper might use my pit bull.
This is gonna be a hook at some point.
Real talk, DMX is my spirit animal. And just to give you guys some ideas of where you can start, because I asked one kid, a kid that actually, if he knew who DMX was, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's that one group that did that one song, right?" Yeah. No, DMX is not that one group that did that one song. DMX, Darkman X, Earl Simmons was a beast in the late 90s, early 2000s. He won the 2000 and 2001 AMA for favorite rapper. Just to give you some songs that you guys need to go. That's a real thing. Some songs that you might want to check out. as you're going down your DMX exploration.
Dan, you look like a big DMX fan.
I mean, he's from New York.
I don't even know the one song.
I'm sure he lives like right around the corner from you. He's like all over New York.
That was like his pump up music before this interview started. He was just like,
listening, party up. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here.
Sounds
up
just
in
like
here.
it.
I know.
Sounds exactly like
Don't
it.
make me do the DMX voice. The Rough Riders anthem, Who We Be, Where the Hood At. Those are all good songs to start off with. If you like a little softer stuff from DMX, you can get How's It Going Down, where he's talking to a shawty from around the way, trying to figure out how it's going down.
Yeah.
And of course, my favorite DMX song, What These Bitches Want.
Yeah, who doesn't?
What These Bitches Want, where he blessed us with one of the greatest verses in all of rap. And I will do a DMX voice for this.
Okay.
It was, there was Brenda, Letitia, Linda, Felicia, Dawn, LaShawn, Inez, and Alicia, Tessa, Monica, Sharon, Nikki, Lisa, Veronica, Karen, Vicky, Cookie. Well, I met her at an ice cream parlor.
Jesus,
Tanya, Diane, Lori, Carl. The whole verse is just him listing chicks that he smashed. That's one of the greatest verses. He remembered all 50 names. Check out DMX. Check out DMX. And I swear to God, you'll be a better human being for knowing about DMX. And you'll definitely be the hardest person in your clique if you're under 25. Just knowing who DMX is, you automatically are the most gangster person in your crew.
He only fucks like girls with like weird ass mediocre names and shit.
No, I think he only smashes chicks he can rob.
Yeah, okay. There you go. That's probably it. Yeah.
You have no experience with DMX at all, Dan?
No, I vaguely heard the name. I'm not really knowledgeable about rap.
Dan, your culture is trash.
That may well be.
That may well be.
What are you into musically? Like what is your go-to?
Well, I think it depends on the day, and I like I don't know, all kinds of things. What was I listening? I could just like tell you what's on my iTunes.
Yeah.
The sample might be the best way to do it because I don't know how to classify,
what genre?
I'm just gonna name some stuff. Some of the stuff is gonna be a bit corny. I got Lost in Love by Air Supply here.
Oh yeah,
Air Supply. Okay,
I know. No One, Alicia Keys.
Oh,
there you go, bro. There you go.
There was a little bit. Rise Up, Andra Day. You Got It All, the Jets. That's like an 80s.
Oh, dude.
thing.
I never got into the Jets.
Baby Blue, Badfinger. It's like a classic rock.
Okay.
Monday the Bangles. You get the idea.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything, but not everything because there's not a lot of rap. Beyonce, Irreplaceable. So
to the left.
I love how Dan just likes these beautiful black women that are just
I Miss You, Blink 182.
Oh yeah, that was a good album, dude. I used to listen to.
Wait, was that album actually good?
I don't know, dude. I haven't listened to it since I was like 22.
You get the idea.
Yeah.
Okay, you got an eclectic flow.
I think I would call it eclectic. Yeah, I think so.
Nice.
I think so.
If there was a musician that you could classify as your spirit animal, who would embody that?
Spirit animals doesn't necessarily mean your favorite musician, right?
Right.
It means a musician that's sort of your guide in life.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I never thought of that, but
Beyonce, definitely.
No, it wouldn't be Beyonce. I mean, Bruce Springsteen, but he's.
Oh yeah.
I like, but then again, like he's, that's not my life. He talks about blue collar, working class Jersey people, and that's not my background. But I suppose if there was somebody I'd like to meet in the most musician wise, it would be him.
The balls.
Because he defined my youth. I'm from the 80s.
Yeah.
So that was when he was like born in the USA in particular.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was like the biggest thing that there was. So the soundtrack of my adolescence was, in large part, was him.
I was like I said to you earlier, my family was in the Air Force and I moved around a bunch. I lived in the Philippines from the age of 3 to 7 or 8. And we were on base in the 80s when Born in the USA came out. And when I tell you, that song was played everywhere. Like I thought that was the national anthem for a while because everywhere you went on base, you just heard Born in the USA just blaring everywhere you went. So like he definitely, for me, Bruce Springsteen didn't have a big impact on my life, but that song definitely had a fingerprint in that time period in my life. I heard it everywhere. So I'll give it to the boss for that.
Yeah, and that wasn't even I didn't even love that particular song. That was the most well-known song.
Yeah.
That was not the song that I liked the best of that album. And then, of course, he's got a bunch of other albums, obviously. But that
he's got a large catalog.
Wait, you rock with Bruce Springsteen?
I'm not a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. I had a friend of mine, Mikey Swinson, a friend of ours, comedian here in town. Me and him would always playfully argue who was better between him and Van Morrison. But it's clearly
so hard
Van
to
Morrison.
compare those.
I know, but it was just that was his favorite musician, and Van Morrison is mine. And so, just jokingly, we would kind of be like,
the denim is a turnoff to me.
With Boss.
Yeah, all that denim. All that denim is my wife likes to wear denim jackets, and I'm like, who the fuck are you, Bruce Springsteen? Get out of here. Get out of here with that denim on.
Bruce Springsteen.
I probably because I never look good in a denim jacket is why I hate it. But Dan,
a question I got for you, brother, is Crashing is one of my favorite shows. And as comedians, a lot of comedians talk about this show. It's a big favorite amongst comedians. What was it like working on? I mean, obviously, it's a very general question. What was it like working on that show and just telling such an awesome story about stand-up comedy and the trials and tribulations and everything like that that come with that?
Well, I only worked on my little scene.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know what the big picture until I saw the episode. But just the actual working on it was just very specific to the little scenes that I did here and there. But one thing I can say that's interesting, and probably a little different than how other directors work, but Judd Apatow, he's a big improv.
Yeah.
He doesn't do improv, but I'm saying on set, he likes to do improv. So, he'd give you a script and he'd say, but don't pay too much attention to it. It's just a guideline.
That's awesome.
He wasn't always there, but that philosophy filtered down. So if there was another director, he was the producer and sometimes director. But he set the ambiance. So basically all the directors kind of followed that model. And so it was just here's some lines and a basic direction. And then you guys just kind of talk and follow this basic structure. You have to get from here to here. Okay, we want you to, for example, Pete Holmes, he comes upstairs. He just was on stage and you all make fun of him.
Yeah.
And, come up with your own shit. And then we'll do it a bunch of times. We'll tape it a bunch of times. And
take the best.
And then sometimes they would shout from the back, Judd or one of the other people that would shout out, try saying this, this, shout out suggestions. And then they would just edit it as they edited it.
He was leaning on the talent of the comedians on the show and everything like that to kind of.
Yeah. At least for those scenes that involve the comedians. Now, scenes that involve people that aren't comedians, he might have worked. But I was only in the scenes.
It felt like that. Yeah, it felt like that.
Artie Lang, who was particularly good at those sorts of that kind of thing.
Yeah, it felt like that a lot. You could tell a lot of the scenes where the comedians are just sitting around the table shooting the shit and start making fun of each other. That felt super natural. It didn't feel like anything was
in the script.
Yeah,
it was just okay. Now you make fun of Pete Holmes.
Yeah.
There might have been a couple lines that they suggested, but nobody paid attention to it anyway.
Yeah.
So that's how it was working. That was cool. I mean, I'd never really done much TV other than just talk shows and Last Comic Standing and AGT and stuff like that. But I never really done that serious scripted, stuff.
Yeah. One of my favorite
experience, and I learned a bit about the process. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm sure you did learn a lot, and also working with Judd, I'm sure it was awesome as well. With how much influence he's had and how many great films and shows he's been a part of and everything.
But like I said, even when he wasn't on set, his influence was on set. Philosophy.
The philosophy and the writing and the just general direction of the show and everything you say.
Right, and the notion that he just wants the comics to just kind of do their thing and a lot of improv.
That's really awesome, man. Nice. To give them the freedom, and they're funny for a reason. They're on this.
Well, there's a reason Judd is who he is for a reason too.
Yeah,
he knows
because he knows
how to learn. He learned
felt that the best outcome would be doing it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which it was. You gotta watch the show, brother. It's very real, natural. You as a comedian, us as comedians, it feels like I don't know. It's like what we do every night, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like the ribbing, the, talking shit and everything like that. It's very natural. It's very real and everything. doesn't feel forced or anything like that.
Okay.
Dan, how did you notice like your career change, once you were on America's Got Talent and, it got all that exposure and everything like that?
Well, it was very helpful in terms of corporate work, not so much clubs. I mean, I might draw a few extra people at a club date, but it gave me all of a sudden, like people that booked, like, for the company meeting at such and such corporation, all of a sudden that gave me more credibility. So I was able to get more of that kind of work, which was very helpful financially.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that was the main benefit is corporate work, which is very lucrative. It's not always fulfilling artistically because you got to be usually very politically correct and very clean when you perform in a corporate environment. But it tend to pay well.
I was gonna say you got to pay the bills regardless, man. So it's like
they're always very stressful because it's like, okay, I can't say this and I can't say that. You got to be very down the middle, but then you get the check and it's
you're like, yeah, I'll say whatever the hell you want me to say for this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Seriously.
Keep polluting rivers. Who gives a shit, right? Let's do it. That's great. So obviously you probably got recognized a little bit more on the street too. People are like, oh my God, you're that guy.
Not a ton.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's like there's so much out there, A TV show, even if it's a primetime TV show, it doesn't mean what it would have meant in 1985.
Yeah.
Everybody was watching
Star Search.
Channels, and so
3 channels, Now there's 80 million channels where people are watching YouTube stuff. They're on.
Yeah, there's so much
Facebook,
media.
Saturday, whatever. Then used to be if you were at 4, on Thursday night at 8:30 or 9 or whatever it was, you were watching Cheers. That's it.
And so
what was that process like for you though, going through AGT? Because I went to, was it last year I think, or 2018? I went to the tryouts or the auditions in San Antonio. Not really hoping to advance, but I wasn't doing nothing and I wanted to see what it was about. So I went and I sat backstage and in that big room in a hotel while they went through all the auditions. And that was it for me. But you went much further than that. You actually got on the show. What was that process like?
Well, I think part of the reason is I was already known a little bit from having done some, Last Comic Standing and some late night shows. So they already knew me a little bit. The producers knew who I was. I think that's pretty helpful.
Yeah.
And then I did the audition, here in New York in front of a bunch of English people.
Why English people?
Cool, right? I don't know.
That's who's in the crowd, or that's who the executives were?
That was 4 producers.
Yeah.
They were just these English dudes.
Yeah.
Because I think the show is from England, right? Simon Cowell.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
And so it's all English people that are high, not all, but it was 4 English dudes. They were just like, all right, just said, just do that. And so I did 3 minutes in front of them, and they're like, oh, excellent one, And then they called me and, to go to the next round. However many weeks later that was.
Mm-hmm.
But I found the whole thing pretty stressful. Comedians, in general, artists don't like to be judged in that way.
Mm-hmm.
We'd rather just do our thing. And if you like us, great. If you don't, great. But rather than having a panel of judges say that they liked you and then people voting on you, it's not our favorite thing to do. But
in front of 4 people too.
How did it feel when you snapped on Simon?
Oh, well, that was more recently in the
Champions thing.
Champions. Right? They brought me back and said, "Oh, you're one of the champions." I wasn't a champion, but I made to the semifinals. So they said, "Oh, we're going to invite back the best of AGT to compete." Just to give some background to people who might not have seen it. So it was called the Champions, and Simon Cowell gave me the X there. Yeah, so was your question, how did it feel?
Because you kind of, what'd you tell him? When it comes to comedy, he wouldn't know. It
wasn't anything brilliantly creative. I just said, you don't know your ass from your elbow when it comes to comedy. I said, maybe in music you know something, which, by the way, I'm not even sure he knows that, but, I had to give him the compliment in order for them not to, for the insult.
Yeah. You had to butter him up.
I had to butter him up, and then that way it was funny, because otherwise it wouldn't have been funny or interesting.
You just going in on them and shit, like, hey, no one likes your fucking V-necks, dude. You know can't say that.
But it got a bigger laugh than I expected. I didn't think it would. I just said speaking my mind, and then everybody was laughing, and even Simon was like, "Oh, now that was funny."
Yeah.
That phrase that's been said over and over. Yeah, that was good. None of your original material.
Stroke of creative genius. Maybe I delivered it well. I don't know.
Yeah.
People seem to always repeat that and say, "Oh, that was great." What you said to Simon, okay, if you say so.
It was probably just like it was probably just cathartic for people too. I'm sure.
Well, and that's kind of why I asked, because it's like not everybody gets the opportunity to say something to their critic, like directly to their face. Not everybody has that opportunity real time to respond, and especially to him. Most people just take what he says, they go in the back and they cry. And you were like, nah.
See, I'm sure a lot of people have snapped on him. They don't keep it in. So if I did anything right, if there's anything I did that you could qualify as certainly not genius, but at least well executed, was to give him the compliment first and say that he's
yeah.
You're the king. But then in comedy, you don't know shit. So because it was framed that way, they didn't cut it out. They kept it in.
See, now you guys.
I imagine a lot of people do snap on it. They just cut it. They don't have to air it.
That's true.
There you go. And so everybody listening and watching, I hope you're taking notes. Dan is telling you how you can really sucker punch somebody verbally. All right, like this isn't just for Simon Cowell.
Yeah,
if you're at work, if you're at work and your boss is giving you some crap, tell him, hey, you know what? You showed up at work on time today. That was really good on you, but you suck at your job. Like you got to butter them up and then give the insult.
Like hey, I like your.
I think that's the best way to keep them from cutting it out on. I don't know how that would work with your boss at work. You probably wouldn't get fired.
Okay, with your wife.
But oftentimes you got to say something nice before you say something not so nice, and you'll be less likely to suffer consequence.
There you go.
All right, it's game time. If we are ready, game time. Dan, are you ready to play a game with us?
I enjoy most games. Some I don't.
All right. Hopefully you got that badminton racket in the mail.
Like, checkers. I've got really bad memories about that game, bro.
Badminton.
Oh my God. This week we are playing top 5. All right. So I'm gonna give you a topic, Dan, and you'll give me your top 5 in that category. So I'll do one for you, one for Dan, or one for Chad, and then one for both of you to answer on. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Dan, we're gonna go with you first. Now, famously in your set, you talk about being an uncle. So I would like from you your top 5 TV or movie uncles.
Top 5 TV or in no particular order. Like I don't.
No particular order.
5, but not necessarily. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's Uncle Buck.
Okay, Uncle Buck.
Oh yeah, definitely Uncle Buck.
And there was a TV show, but I never saw that. There's Uncle Charlie from My Three Sons.
Okay.
That's going back. I used to see that in reruns. TV or film uncles.
I can't even think.
In Vacation, was Randy Quaid an uncle or a cousin?
Well, I mean, he was somebody's uncle. He was a kid's uncle.
Yeah, he was a kid's uncle.
I mean, he went by Cousin Eddie, but
Yeah, he was great. So I had to put. I guess it was the uncle to Rusty and.
Yeah. I forget the other, whatever her name was. Audrey. Yeah, there you go.
So him. It's hard to get 5.
Yeah, 5. Let's do 3.
Can I throw one out there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Uncle Phil.
Oh yeah.
Oh, from the Fresh Prince.
From the Fresh Prince.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely Uncle Phil.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd be my top 5. Well, maybe he would be because I'm having trouble naming. Uncle Ned from the Family Ties, played by Tom Hanks. He was only in a couple of episodes.
Okay. Tom Hanks, anything is top 5.
Yes, he played Uncle Ned.
Okay. So we have Buck.
In like 2 episodes of Family Ties.
Family Ties. Damn, that's a callback right there.
Yeah.
Family Ties.
Well, I'm from the 80s.
Yeah.
I know you went deep in the bag with My Three Sons. Like,
I had to because it's not. Nothing leaps to mind.
Yeah.
Well, Uncle.
Uncles.
I think you gave us.
I'm sure there's others, but
that's
yeah,
4.
I guess I don't include Uncle Phil. So there's my top 5.
There you go.
Boom. All right, that's your top 5. Let me try see if I can remember. Uncle Phil, Uncle Ned, Uncle Buck,
Cousin Eddie, and the guy from My Three Sons.
Yeah, Uncle Charlie.
Uncle Charlie.
There you go.
All right, boom. That's
that
top
was pretty
5.
good, Dan.
Chad.
So
top 5 athletes from New York? Either played in New York or from New York.
Well, I mean, obviously this is gonna be generational. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't fucking remember
It's
like
your top
Bernard
5.
King and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, don't shit on Bernard King.
Doc, I'm just saying. I don't know him. Is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So
I don't know him.
Like,
I know Pat. I don't know him.
Clyde Frazier or some shit. I don't remember those days.
Okay.
You know? Of course, I think I'm gonna go number 1 is Derek Jeter. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like New York. Like
Yeah. Jeter. Okay.
And then I don't know who they would say, but I'd say like probably Peyton or Eli Manning, I guess.
The mouth breather.
He won 2 Super Bowls.
The mouth breather.
You know
Yeah, got it.
And then Stephon Marbury.
Are you serious right now?
I'm joking, dog.
Are you serious right now? Grandmama's number 4?
Larry Johnson, number 4. And then I guess a distant 5th is Patrick Ewing.
Wait.
So.
You put Stephon Marbury before Patrick Ewing?
Yeah.
And you're being for real?
Yeah. No, I'm not being for real. But this is my top 5.
It is your top 5. Yes. I'm just making sure.
So Starbury. Larry Johnson.
Oh, you were serious about Larry Johnson.
Dude, I love Grandmama. That was one of my favorite players growing up.
Okay.
Yeah. He was like the original, power forward that could stretch out to 15, 16 feet and hit a jumper and shit. Dude,
and the original sign a big contract, get fat and suck.
Got to do what you got to do, man.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, there we go. Top 5.
All right, so that was Jeter, Eli, Starbury, Grandmama,
and Patrick Ewing, I guess.
And Venus Williams doppelganger.
Yeah, dude, damn, I never thought about that, yeah.
All right, fair enough. All right, and this one's for both of you guys. Dan, Chad, top 5 places to people watch.
Like just in general or like
yeah, we're top 5 places to go.
Oh, dude, the mall is number 1.
Is the mall even a thing anymore?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it used to be, but
there's still malls out there.
Yeah.
No.
You just can't see facial expressions as much anymore, but you can see an argument between a 23-year-old couple.
Okay,
that shit's funny.
All right, the mall.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, you can throw one in whenever.
What? So how are we doing it? Just take turns?
It doesn't matter. Yeah. Just go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, just both of y'all collaborate on this.
In New York Central Park, but I guess you could expand that out to parks in general.
Yeah.
Park in New York.
Is Central Park like real? I've never been in New York. Is Central Park like a really good people? Like, is there stuff going on in that park? Or is it just like, is it?
I mean, especially when it's nice weather, you go to Sheep Meadow and there's like a ton of people there.
Like, is it a walking park? Like,
yeah, dude, it's huge.
It's a walking biking park. They got boating. They got everything.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like
there's a skating rink. There's a zoo.
Little small boat races and shit.
How big is Central Park?
It's fucking huge.
Is
man.
it?
Yeah, it's huge.
Like 800 acres, I think, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, it's fucking huge.
I had no idea. I thought literally it was just like a couple of blocks around. I had no idea.
It goes from like it's like 40 blocks long.
Yeah.
It's
really
it's huge, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, shit. All right, Central Park. All right, I can definitely see some people watching there. The mall.
Yeah.
You guys do airports? You people watching airports?
Oh yeah.
Say airports.
Yeah, airports is awesome, dude. Because people from all over the country, you have no idea, and it's fun to sit there and like wonder what their story is.
Yeah.
It's also sometimes you can tell like where the plane is going when you look at the the gate, with the waiting area.
That's so true.
We have a bunch of people that look grungy with like, we'll catch it. Oh, that's going to Seattle.
Yeah, totally. Dude, I know I do that shit with when I'm coming to Austin. Like when I'm flying to Austin, back to Austin from like LA or wherever. Like I can always tell my gate by like the
smell of patchouli.
Yeah, no, the smell of like homemade tamales and just like fucking like torn t-shirts and like a guitar case. That's when I know. I'm like, I don't even have to look. That's the Austin people.
Okay.
And you see like older folks, you're like, oh, he's going to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah. This dude's definitely going down to Orlando for the fucking summer.
He's got on flip-flops.
Yeah, some Crocs or some shit.
All right, we got 2 more places that you guys people watch.
Dude, no, like now because you can't fucking go anywhere. I'd say grocery stores is like one of the best places.
Yeah,
and it's funny to like see like all these people. I don't know, just it's funny to also like see what people buy at the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, that's why you're super overweight.
Jesus, Dan, you're in New York, so
right
now I'm assuming the best place to people watch is probably your window, right?
Yeah, I guess so. But there's not many people. I look out like on the back of buildings, and there's no street. So there's not much watching go. I guess I could stare in the window.
Yeah, why not?
You know, if I had a telescope.
Don't act like you don't have a telescope.
I don't have a telescope.
He's going to get one.
We got one more.
One more.
I mean, and keep in line, like sort of related to the grocery store, like the gym.
Yeah.
That's more of a place to people stare, especially like working out.
No, I know that feeling. Yeah. Like
you start doing exercises you've never done before because you're trying to look at some butt.
Oh, I ain't never done that. I would go. Well,
really?
Well, because when I go to the gym, it's at like 2 a.m. when nobody's in there. So when I'm people watching, I'm watching like the weirdos in there using the exercise machines weirdly.
Yeah, like the wrong way.
Yeah. Like I saw this guy come in and you know the with the thing you sit down with the triceps where you hold and you push it down.
Yeah.
This guy, like he came in, I swear he just came straight from prison to the gym.
Yeah.
And like he walked in and he like stood above it and he grabbed it with one arm and he just started going, huh. And I was like, oh, he's working on his stabbing motion. That's what that
exactly
he was just.
he's like, gotta get this.
And I was like, that's not how you use that machine.
Yeah,
but,
gotta get used to stabbing people.
So there wasn't a lot of people watching for me at the gym. It was more like people wondering, like, is it about to go down?
Yeah.
Am I going to be a casualty at 2:00 in the Planet Fitness?
It's always funny when you see like.
I don't know how to use a piece of equipment, and I'll look at the dude. So I might have looked at this guy. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. Oh, this is the stab machine. I was wondering what this was for years.
Some of those equipment's like it's not necessarily self-evident how you're supposed to use it.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's totally the machine OJ was using. I can't believe
yeah. Oh, definitely, dude. That's how he got his game up, you know, before. I can't believe you never like followed, like not like stalk bitches, but I'm just saying like you like seeing like a hot girl at the gym and you're just like, I'm gonna bust out a couple more sets over here.
Not at 2 a.m. It's a bunch of people watching Crunchyroll on their phone while they're working out. And like at 2 a.m, you get like people wearing like full on like combat boots.
Yeah, dog.
And like chains hanging off of their pants.
They just came from the club and shit. They're like, you know what?
No, I don't even think they came from a club. I think that's just how they dress. Like, the new emo goth kids, and they're just walking on a treadmill looking at videos in like their normal boots and clothes,
like eating licorice and shit. They're like,
I don't know, they're eating licorice, but like, yeah. When I go to the gym, there's not a lot of like interest. There's not a lot of booty in there. There's not a lot of like. There's like this one bald guy that you could tell is a CEO of his company, and he probably embezzles money.
Yeah.
And then some weirdos and me constantly like getting cramps on the ab machine.
Not knowing how to work the stab machine.
Doing the stab machine wrong and stuff.
That's awesome.
I keep trying to pull the bar up to my mouth. It's weird.
So, Dan, a question I want to ask you, brother, just because you've been, a comedian for so long and everything like that, we just like, we're interested in like the genesis of when you became a comedian, how you became a comedian, why, and all these things.
Well, the why part is because it looked like fun and the way to get attention and acclaim and something I'd always wanted to do, and then so I just signed up for, it wasn't really an open mic here in New York City. This was going back to the early 90s. I was signed up for a bringer show. We had to bring 3 people.
Oh God, yeah.
If you bring 3 people, then you get to go on stage. And so that's how it's, and I did a great job. Because everybody in the audience was either people I knew or people the other comedians knew. So they were all like very supportive.
Yeah.
They weren't there because they wanted to see a great show. They were there to support whoever they were there to support. So I went on stage. I did it. I killed. I thought, okay, here we go. Next stop is the the Tonight Show.
I'm gonna have my special out in no time.
Yeah. What did I know? But I figured everybody would say, "Hey, Dan, let's have you back this weekend. We'll pay you." But it took a couple of years after that to even make $20 as an MC, but that's how it started. Just doing those sorts of shows where I had to bring people to the show in order to get on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And then then slowly but surely I was able to get to the point where somebody would pay me a little bit of money, $100 for the weekend to MC up in Poughkeepsie or whatever. I think the first road gig I did was in Poughkeepsie at Comedy, what was it called? Bananas or something like it. It was called Bananas.
Yeah.
In Poughkeepsie, New York. And I think I made $90 for the entire weekend to MC the show.
You were like, I'm balling, dude. Look at this. I'm just killing
$90 is not. I could use $90 right now.
Well, $90 yeah, now. The pandemic, $90 is not easy.
I think they're still paying MCs the exact same amount.
Not even. It's way less now. It's way less now.
Yeah.
So, like, just looking at your career and the evolution of comedy, like I know when you were coming up, like it was a big deal to get on Letterman, getting on Conan, and you've got those credits. Do you think it's still important though now for comedians to have what they call like a tight TV 5, a tight 5 for TV, or do you think that is not as essential anymore?
I don't think it's as essential. I think it was becoming less essential even when I was doing it. It's like I said now, like it used to be the Tonight Show, you'd get 20 million, I don't know how many million people, 5, whatever it was, watching the Tonight Show because there was nothing else to watch. Now, of course, there's a million things to watch. And people are getting more traction off YouTube than they are off, the last time I did one of these late night shows, I did Conan O'Brien on TBS. I like Conan and he's always very nice to me. And I always feel like you're in show business, like, oh, I'm on TV. And it's still because I grew up with it, with those kinds of shows. It feels good to do them. But in terms of career impact, I think you'd have a lot better luck on YouTube if your video became viral,
Yeah. Things have changed, man.
This woman named Robin Shaw just did a video where she talked about, she read her list of goals for 2020 that she had written in 2019. And it was like all stuff like, I want to be socialized more.
Yeah.
All
Fuck
like
that.
The pandemic completely shut down.
Yeah.
And I want to
I just want to breathe.
More time with my grandmother who ended up dying. So,
damn.
This video went viral, and I probably did more for her career than had she done a Letterman or Letterman's not on the air anymore. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
viral video.
Yeah,
has now made her well known. She has 100,000 fans on Instagram, and I know that she just signed with a pretty well known manager, and we'll see what she gets from it. But this was a viral video on Instagram.
That's
had nothing
crazy.
to do with the television. So
that's so wild.
That's where everything is going now.
So like. Anybody that's getting into the game now, if they're still like, is that mentality toxic to still be thinking like I got to figure out a way to get onto TV, or is it a waste of time?
It's toxic, but I don't think it's. Look, and tomorrow it could all change. But right now, it seems to me, you can do it on YouTube. You can do Instagram. These are the places that people are becoming well known. I mean, I think the first guy to pull it off years ago was Dane Cook.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sort of the first guy to do it. He became famous from MySpace, basically.
Yeah.
And began selling out theaters, and ultimately had a film career with that.
Yeah, he completely changed like everything of how comedians are discovered, and also just like hustling yourself, you know what I mean? Like being your own agent in a way, you know what I'm saying? Like this friend of yours that you just talked about, how she, shot a video. She probably shot it on her phone at her own house, you know what I mean? And became huge rather than having to go out.
I don't even think she meant it to become that big. It was just like an Instagram post.
Yeah.
Something on Instagram today.
Yeah. You never know.
Probably didn't even realize. Oprah ended up, I think, retweeting. I mean, it became like ridiculous,
Yeah.
And she never would have predicted that. I mean, another friend I know does videos on Instagram. He does impressions, and he's got almost 1 million Instagram followers.
Damn. That's crazy.
800,000. So I think more important nowadays.
Yeah.
So, like, with that being said, are we at a point now where, if that's not as important, is it as important to have a manager or an agent to get these bookings now? If you can do it and get signed to a deal off of an Instagram post, do people still need to be looking for agents and managers?
Well, I think people that are stars have agents and managers, because it's just, you want somebody to negotiate for you.
Yeah.
I mean, when a call comes in and somebody says to me, what do you charge? I don't want to answer that question because I don't want to be the asshole.
Yeah.
I'm the artist. I want to show up and be Mr. Fun.
Right.
I don't want to negotiate.
Be talking about money and shit.
I'm not good at negotiating. I'll end up giving myself away for less. So I got a guy that knows, a little bit about that. So, and I think, and just to answer depending on how big you get, you just want a guy that's handling the nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
All right. No, that's fair.
And also look for a move. I mean, yeah, like the things that I've gotten, like crashing, I wasn't in it. They called my agent.
Oh, wow.
But it wasn't because my agent did anything. They just, Judd Apatow knows me from the Comedy Cellar and said, oh, we'd like to use Dan. And he told his people, contact Dan's agent. They looked it up, I guess. I don't know how they found out my agent, but they called it up. And the agent called me. But,
that's awesome.
So that the agent didn't actually do any work really, but they were there to answer the phone. I don't know what value that has.
He's like, yeah,
the 15%. That's the value it has. 15%.
I mean, in that case, yes. However, there might have been the next week an audition came in that I didn't know about, and they would call me up because now because I gave them a little bit of money from crashing.
Yeah.
Now they're a little bit more in my corner.
Yeah.
This didn't happen, by the way, but theoretically.
Yeah.
A little bit more in my corner now. And the next time something comes in, oh, Dan would be good for this part. Let's pitch Dan.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they and then so then you get some. So I mean, yeah, I don't think the agents and managers are obsolete by any means.
Fair enough.
But and again, like if you're really big, you can't answer all those phone calls and deal with all those people. You got to have somebody at least.
And so, do you have different people to handle like your TV stuff, and then also like your touring and your stand up and club work and shit like that?
Well, I have an agent for TV. Like I said, they were there to pick up the phone when Judd's people called.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my manager who does gets me bookings and things, and I do a lot of on my own, too.
Oh wow,
that's how it comes in.
Is it from like establishing relationships with the club owners or the people that run the clubs? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
But the clubs in New York City, I have my own relationship.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for so long. So the Comedy Cellar is just something I do. I handle it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, it hasn't been open almost a year now, but I would call every week and say I'm available to perform, whatever days I was available to perform. And then they get back to me and say, all right, Friday at 9:30.
That's awesome.
10 o'clock, Saturday at 11:30, whatever it was. And I just handle that myself.
Yeah.
But of course, again, that hasn't been a thing for almost a year now. We'll see. I don't know when that's going to start.
And so, Dan, just a personal question for you, brother. You're in New York. You're obviously, comedy is a thing that you've been doing for your entire life, pretty much. And
half of it.
Yeah. And so, what's it like for you, man, to kind of be not have that avenue anymore? How are you filling that void? What are you doing? And
I've done so much comedy over there. I don't crave comedy the way a lot of comics do. I've done it for a long time. I don't crave that. I'm like I said, I wrote that book, and I do podcasts. I do my own podcast in addition to being a guest on.
What is that? What's your podcast, brother?
Live from the Table. It's with Noam Dorman, the owner of the Comedy Cellar. It's basically, I mean, we used to do it at the Comedy Cellar.
Yeah.
We can't anymore, so we do it by Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about comedy. We talk about also just what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
So I have other outlets, creative-wise, that are fulfilling. What I do miss is personal interaction more than anything else.
Yeah.
Seeing people live over the summer, you go outside, you meet in the park. It was cool. Now it's winter.
It's cold as hell.
Austin, I guess, is warm, right? So
yeah, ish.
You hang out outside, but I mean, it's 30 degrees out there. No, ain't nobody hanging out in the park.
Yeah, right. Unless you're like trying to score some heroin or some shit.
The restaurants and the bars are closed, and the comedy club are closed. So it's like, yeah, that's the social aspect is what's most difficult.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So, and meeting up with, like, that's one thing I missed a lot was like meeting up with comics, hanging out with comics. Because, I mean, that's how I get a lot of my materials, hanging out with you, hanging out with other friends that are comedians. Right. And we're just like shooting the shit, talking jive and everything. And when we
talking jive?
Yeah, say talking jive.
Okay, word.
And so, is that all right? Am I
no, you good.
Thanks. Yeah. And so, but like you and I, like hanging out and talking shit and coming up with funny bits or whatever, or us like going over shit together. You know what I'm saying? That's what I missed the most. Like during the pandemic when everything was shut down. Now in Austin and in Texas, we're not, as the Gestapo isn't as strong here as it is in other parts of the country.
Nah, the redneck is strong here.
Yeah. So we're able to get out, but like for 9 months, man, we didn't do shit. We couldn't do any clubs, and so any shows or whatsoever. And so that's what I missed a lot, was hanging out with other comedians and shit, which was difficult.
Dan, you came up in New York in a time when there was like a lot of heavy hitters coming through there, right?
Yeah. There always is.
I mean, there's always, like who in particular?
Oh, like, see, you were, when did you start doing comedy? Like in the early 90s?
In the early 90s. So a little bit after, Chappelle is younger than me, but I think he started when he was like 15.
Yeah,
right.
14 or 15.
He was already kind of making a little bit of noise. Attell was already kind of making noise when I started. Ray Romano was already several years in. Jon Stewart was already several years in. I started roughly at the same time as Zach Galifianakis.
Okay.
He is a guy that I started, not on the exact same day, but very, very close
right.
time with him.
Yeah.
Nick Swartzen started roughly around that time.
Bill Burr, was he around that time in New York?
Bill Burr was probably
he was Boston, right?
Year in at the time.
He moved to New York.
Louis was already several years in.
Louis.
But yeah, so the person probably the most famous person that I started like right at the same time as was Zach.
Yeah.
So we talk about, like Chad was just talking about, hanging out with comics and getting that energy and stuff. When you got guys like that around, like what was the energy that especially for a young comedian like yourself at that time, what type of energy was in the air when you were hitting these clubs and hanging out with, or running in crowds adjacent to these people?
Well, at the time, these people weren't, like Zach wasn't a star, so it was
right.
Like
he had no idea.
Person, but it was exciting. I think it's always exciting when you're a newcomer. I mean, I miss those days because none of us were making any money at all, but we all had dreams,
Yeah.
and everything was exciting. To see Dave Attell, who wasn't particularly well known then, and never became like A-list well known. He was like more a cult favorite.
Yeah.
But it was so exciting for us to see somebody like that. Anybody that had been on TV, well, oh my God, I can't believe. Oh, I just met so and so, sat at the same table as this person, who had just been on the Tonight Show or whatever. I think when you're new, it's something special, to be new in this business when all the possibilities are still open to you. The dreams are, and you and all your friends have ambition and dreams, and you're all convinced that you're going to be,
super big,
and everything is new, and it was really interesting. It was a cool time. But I think it's a cool time for any new. I don't think if you start talking to somebody that started comedy last year, I think it would be similar because there's always stuff happening. There's always,
different challenges and different. There's a different zeitgeist of it's going on and everything, which is interesting. And now, so I wanted to ask you about that. Actually, that leads into my next question. Is just like generally like how you've seen like comedy and audiences change. I mean, obviously there's different challenges every decade, every few years. There's we experience like cancel culture big time in the last few years and everything like that. And just how
nobody's canceling Dan. Nobody. Dan's pretty safe.
Well, I avoid. I'm not trying to get canceled.
Yeah.
But they cancel me. I mean, they're going to have to. I mean, maybe they can figure out how to do it. And maybe I'll say something that today, is okay, but then a year from now they'll find it.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, this asshole."
Oh, so he's watching people at the airport. He's one of those airport watchers.
Yeah.
Okay,
You're
just judging
him.
Yeah.
Even though I was just saying I'm looking at them, but maybe that'll be too much.
Yeah.
I don't know, but anyway, so audiences, I don't know if but there's always been like stuff that you couldn't say. It's just the only difference is social media has made it so that the stuff that you couldn't say, used to say it, and the audience would groan, and that would be the end of it. And now it goes on Twitter. And,
everybody knows about it.
And then it can become a big deal. So but the audiences themselves, I don't think I've noticed a huge change. Sometimes they'll groan, they won't tolerate it. But that was the case 20 years ago. You don't feel like now it goes on Twitter or whatever, and you can get canceled. So
I don't really believe that the audiences have changed that much, to be honest. I mean, like people like, especially here in Austin, they say, well, you can't say stuff like that in Austin. You can't say this. You can't say. I think that as long as you're being authentic,
and you're funny,
that you can say whatever is in your heart to say. It's the people that are going out there trying to push they're trying to push the envelope. Yeah, you're probably gonna turn people off. But if you're going out there and you're, speaking from the heart and speaking with some authenticity and being genuine, I don't think that there's anything you can't say. Even if you're in the most conservative or liberal of crowds.
There are.
You think?
I think there are things that you cannot say, even if you're being, heartfelt and honest. But
yeah, you can't talk about killing babies.
I think that's always been the case. I don't think that's any different than it was 20 years ago.
Right. I don't think that's what I'm saying right there. Like, it's no more harsh today than it was 20 years ago. As far as the the things that were crossing the line 20 years ago is probably still crossing the line. And then but I think a lot of comics get it in their head they have to tiptoe.
Crossing the line today, like you could have made fun of transsexuals with abandon 20 years ago. And it would have been, and of course Eddie Murphy went on stage and talked about faggots, literally. Using that word. And
back in the good old days,
be able to do that. But there were things back then that you couldn't do. There's always something you can't do.
Yeah. That's so true.
What you can't do is different now.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
You couldn't have said the N-word back then as a white guy, and you can't say it now.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, they try in Austin. Oh, they try.
Carlin actually did say it. He said it in a way where he was analyzing the word in an intellectual way. I'm not even, but even that probably now you can do. But anyway, there's always been lines that you can't overstep.
You pick up anything new in the pandemic, like anything that you weren't into before that that now you've got an interest in?
Question. That's an interesting question. Actually, the answer is probably no, but it is an interesting question. I'm sure that some people have.
He's like, I'm just kind of doing the same shit.
People have taken up hobbies. I would imagine people, have learned instruments, have done this or that. I haven't. Maybe I missed an opportunity.
I think you missed an opportunity. You could have totally got into some fetish stuff.
I could have mastered Mandarin Chinese, but.
Yeah.
Oh, lava.
We could all be much better versions of ourselves. Instead, we're just like fatter versions of ourselves. At least me,
I'm sexier than ever.
Intermittent fasting,
Oh yeah. We used to call that cocaine binges back in the day.
But I do like the 8 hours of eating, and then the 16 hours of not eating.
Yeah.
I don't know if that works.
Yeah, I used to do that a lot back in my coke days.
So
you go 16 hours just partying, and
you can probably go 24 hours.
Yeah, maybe.
Jesus.
You never know.
What can you tell us about the book? So it's a novel that you're writing.
Yeah,
it's fine. I don't want to give away too many details, but because there are a couple of surprises.
Yeah,
but it happens to be, as is often the case with the first novel, there's some autobiographical elements in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on the main character is a comic, not exactly me, but he's a comic that has fear of success, that he has achieved a certain level of success, and it is causing him neuroses and anxieties, and he sabotages his career, and then he goes back into his life and sort of analyzes the reasons why he is afraid of success, and so we learn about his background and why he's afraid of both success and commitment to women, and he goes back into his life, and we learn about why. And that's roughly what it's about.
It sounds like my biography.
It's not a thriller. It's trying to be literary. I don't know that it's the most commercial idea in the world, but
what was that process like? Because coming from a comedian that you're used to writing jokes and stuff, how is writing a book different? How's that process different?
Well, you're writing, it's a much wider canvas, and you got to worry. A joke, you just have to worry about the joke. You don't have to worry too much about it. This joke contradicts that joke.
Yeah.
But I got to worry about, if everything fits together over 250, 300 pages, that the characters behave in ways that are consistent, that if you say something on page 30, if he says, I don't like ice cream on page 30, he can't say, I love ice cream on page 100.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
It was a challenge, that's for sure. And it was, I found it difficult. The writers, they come out with a book every year, but, for me, it was a pretty arduous process. Maybe if I write another one, it'll be easier.
Are there
I
comedic?
outlined it in my head roughly, not word for word, not scene by scene, but roughly I knew where I was going.
And are there like comedic elements to the book? Is it?
There's the main character is a comedian as well as an Oscar-winning screenwriter.
Oh, okay, wow.
And that's when he kind of sabotages himself after that. But there are scenes of him on stage. There are scenes with him in a writer's room working on a sitcom. So you get,
So there's jokes and stuff in the book.
Showbiz inside stuff.
Yeah. And
so before you actually put pen to paper, though, how much of the story did you already have outlined in your mind before you actually even started writing?
The beginning, middle, and end. I knew the character where he was. All the stuff I just described to you, I knew. The character, all the characters, what the journey was going to be, where he started, where he was in the middle, and where he was at the end. And it was sort of a loose outline, and then I filled it in. Which I'm not sure every writer works that way. I think some writers have every scene mapped out, every chapter mapped out. I did not. I had it just kind of loosely. And then when I finished a chapter, I would say to myself, well, what should the next chapter be? And then I would write that, knowing where I needed to go.
That kind of sounds like the way that us as comedians kind of outline things. We have a beginning, middle, and end that we know, and then we work out what the middle parts and how we get to each part,
tags
through going on stage and working it out, and we'll fill in the rest of the body of that skeleton. But we have those three, I know this is kind of where I'm going. Did you like talk with, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're about to ask?
Did you like talk with other people that have like other writers or other authors, to get tidbits on like the writing process?
No, and maybe I should have, but I've not really. I just wrote it as I felt it was my natural way that I would want to write it. I did talk to other people about some of the characters were, people that I didn't have familiarity with. So I had to call a friend and say, "Oh, I know that you lived with an alcoholic." I mean, because one of the characters is an alcoholic, and what's that like? I didn't have personal experience with it, so I had to do that. I actually was never in a writer's room on a sitcom, so because I never was on staff at a sitcom, even though I've written spec script. So I had to ask what that was like, to find this, so to make it more real.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I talked to people about that. Now, as far as the writing process itself, no, I just kind of winged it. So I don't know,
and how have
I think it turned out okay. But
how have you enjoyed writing this book and everything like that? This is your first book that you've written, and
it's my first book. I enjoyed when I wrote something I thought was good, and I step back. Oh, I think I wrote a good chapter.
Yeah.
The actual writing was to me, the analogy would be like going to the gym. I mean, at least for me, I don't like going to the gym. But I like when I'm done.
Yeah.
Ooh, well, I think I burned some calories and maybe built some muscle. I look in the mirror. Probably doesn't look any different, but in my head,
you're like,
better.
I look great.
And I go to the steam room and I enjoy that process.
Yeah.
I'd imagine
I'm feeling the soreness, but feeling good about it because I did something.
Yeah.
I imagine that writing a novel exercises a different part of your brain than what you are typically using as a comedian. So like going back to like writing jokes and stuff, do you feel like you might have a different approach to your writing methods
good question.
As a comedian?
Well, I think the only thing I would say about that is that, a lot of novelists try to be write novels that try to be funny. And I don't think most of them succeed overwhelmingly at it. But I have experience in that area. So when I use that experience to write the humorous parts of the novel, in an analogous way, when I write a joke, the same. I mean, I even went on stage and tried some stuff out.
That's in the book. That's awesome. Yeah.
Just to make sure it was funny.
Yeah.
So I was able to do that. A lot of it's trial and error,
Yeah.
There's no exact science to it. Sometimes you just have to try it. Maybe it's funny, maybe it isn't.
Yeah. Sorry.
Other than that, I think, again, I kind of used my own technique in terms of having a loose outline and filling it in. And, I mean, we'll see what the finished product. The few people that have read it seem to like it, but they're my friends, so I don't know. Maybe they're being.
So when are you dropping the sequel?
Well, I don't know that it is amenable to a sequel, but I sold 1 million copies, and a publisher said we'll give you a big advance for a sequel. I might write a sequel, but my inclination is that it's done. The story is done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know, and I don't see a sequel in it. But
do you feel like this woke something up inside of you though? Like, is this something like another path in your career that you think you
doing?
Well, I know that I was able to do it, which gives me confidence that I could do it again.
Yeah.
So I probably will. But depending on,
if you're inspired.
If everybody thinks this stinks, and I might get so discouraged, or I might say, "Oh shit, fuck them, I'm going to do it." You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I
probably will write something else. If
That's awesome.
Another novel.
Do you want us to make a call to Oprah for you and get you on that book club?
I have her number. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I can send out the O signal.
I don't think that this is Oprah's book club type book, but be my guest and make that call.
You never know.
All you have to do is just add in one strong female black character that tells your hero no, and then she's in. That's it.
Yeah. I don't have that. I have a strong East Indian female.
Yeah, no, that's not going to work.
And a black male, so I don't know that.
You can get Stedman.
No, nobody cares about black men. You gotta have a woman. You gotta have a Beyonce out there that they can all champion.
Well, you're probably right. I will consider changing the Indian to a black person.
And Dan, get ready to wrap up here, brother. Just a question I have for you as a fellow comedian. It might seem like a little cheesy, but I think a lot of us comedians, have different reasons for why we became comedians or why we want to be, in front of people every night and everything like that. I just want to know what it is that motivates you to, because you've been doing it since the 90s, a long time.
Continues to motivate you?
Yeah, what continues to motivate you after all these years because you've seen it all, I'm sure. You've come up in one of the biggest scenes, in the world in terms of comedy, some of the most talented people you've worked with and you yourself being extremely talented. Yeah, what keeps you going every night?
Well, one of the things is I can't do anything else. What I'm going to do. I don't know how to computer program. You try to keep it. Look, you try to, push yourself artistically.
Yeah.
And you try to be our currency. We all want to make money, of course. You need money to live.
Yeah.
But our currency is funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'd rather be middle class and hysterical than rich and
cheesy.
Hacks, right?
Hacks.
We can all agree on that.
Yep, definitely.
So just trying to out as best I can out funny everybody. I mean, if I go to the Comedy Cellar and a famous person comes in and everybody they're going crazy, because so and so came in and I can't be that famous and I can't be that rich. I can try as best I can to be that funny.
Yeah.
And make sure that nobody leaves the Comedy Cellar saying to themselves, "Oh, now I get it why the famous guy is famous and the other guy is not famous."
Yeah.
I don't want them to see a distinction between us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I guess I'm motivated by that competitive spirit.
That's all. Yeah. That's understandable.
Trying to be the best. I
can throw my name in the ring with those guys. That's what you're saying.
Trying to get that new joke that I think is great, that works, they're very fulfilling when that happens.
Yeah.
And, unlike other fields of endeavor, we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that a lawyer necessarily is saying, I'm going to be, did you see that lawyer? Did you see the argument that he made? I can make a good, I don't think they're thinking like that. I think they're or a finance person is just probably thinking, how much money can I make? Rather than, did you see that guy, the stock trade he made? I want to be able to be that good.
Yeah.
I don't know how they think because I don't hang around them. But
it's not many professions that I think that you can get better,
continue.
Yeah, and hit your stride even in your 40s and 50s and stuff. I'm a huge George Carlin fan, and I thought his last two specials were just as good as Jamming in New York or anything in the 90s.
I think that comedians, the best ones are in their late 40s, early 50s. If you look at who you regard as the best comedians that are, Chappelle's almost 50s.
Bill Burr,
early 50s. Burr's early 50s. He's older than I am. He's early 50s. Almost down the line, Attell's 55.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I keep mentioning Attell. I don't know if you guys are fans or not.
No, I love Attell. Yeah, definitely.
You know, yeah, I mean, Colin Quinn's still doing stuff at 60 years old. It's doing one-man shows, just wrote a book that got some pretty good acclaim. So I think you're right. I think you can keep going. Maybe at 80, you'll finally...
Yeah, eventually you're not relatable anymore at 80. You're like, hey, what's up with these fucking diapers?
Dementia, yeah, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, it's great to be in Scranton.
Musicians seem to hit their stride much younger.
That's very true.
We seem to hit our strides
much older.
In our 40s and 50s, and we don't seem to lose it as we get into even our 60s.
There's a lot of comedians that don't really experience, you know, extreme wealth or extreme fame. Like Donnell Rawlings is one of those people. Donnell Rawlings is one of my favorite comedians, and I've heard him say in interviews and stuff that 2020 was going to be his busiest year. I'm not sure how old he is, but I mean, obviously he's not getting younger, but this is was going to be his biggest year of his entire career. And in my opinion, he's just getting funnier and funnier.
Leslie Jones, I think, is 50.
Yeah.
She's 50?
I didn't know. Recently that she became who she became, so...
Yeah, that's one thing about comedy I think that gets lost in the shuffle, and people trying to, you know, everybody wants to make their mark or whatever, but I think a lot of people forget that the most famous or popular comedians of all times weren't famous or popular in their 20s.
Yeah.
Or their 30s. And that's just historically been the fact that it's not until they're, you know, later in life that they get on the national scene. And a lot of people get discouraged early in the game. They're 25 going, oh, man, I'm still doing open mics. And it's like, yeah, well, you're not going to.
Dude, yeah, you're going to be doing it for another 10 years.
But it's like with the internet, with YouTube and Instagram, people are finding success early. But I don't think that success is sustainable.
Yeah. I totally agree.
But the people that you just mentioned and people that we can think of historically that have, undertook this task of trying to, you know, be a comedian. It wasn't until they were in their late 30s, 40s, going into 50s that they really got national acclaim. And I think that's just something to keep in perspective that a lot of people lose sight of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are exceptions.
Yes.
Eddie Murphy was an exception.
Very true.
But yeah, generally that's how it works. Yeah.
Hey, Dan, you think we're going to meet aliens in 2021?
I don't think so, but I mean, we would have to in order to kind of outdo 2020.
Yeah, we can only go like crazier.
I don't think we're going to meet aliens. I'm not even sure there are aliens out there, and if there are, I don't think we're ever going to meet them. If you want my honest opinion about aliens,
yeah.
You know,
do you have any predictions for 2021? I mean, after everything we've gone through in 2020, I would say there's only one way to go.
I think it'll be better. I mean, we got vaccines. we know the science. We know a little bit more about how this thing. I think in 2021, if the vaccines don't work, people are just gonna be like, all right, well, they don't work. We're just gonna have to. It's
gonna thin the herd.
It seems like they're gonna work, but if they don't work, I think people are gonna say, "We can't do this.
We can't do this shit anymore." Yeah. Well, they got to give people money or something because you can't expect everyone to just stay home. They're just like, hey, everybody just stay home and, you know, become destitute and poor and, you know, eat nothing. You know, they're like, well, dude, you got to give us money or something. You can't close our fucking job and then tell us to stay home while our rent's still due and shit. And I don't know if you know this, but you can only get COVID when you're having fun. You can't get it when you're working or anything like that. It's only when you're out like partying and shit. When you're like at a grocery store, you're exempt. I don't know if you know that. Just a little food for thought there, Dan.
It does not exist in the business
don't have
sector.
Fun, yeah.
Well, I don't know how I mean, most people that get it that I know don't know how they got it.
Yeah.
I mean, they have some ideas, you know, they have some suspicions, but whether it be maybe on the subway, maybe talking to a friend.
Yeah.
I seem to think it's mostly from talking to people at close range.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like AIDS. Like if you caught HIV, you're like, oh, that bitch. Like you have a pretty good idea who gave you HIV. But
I shouldn't have been hanging out with Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
All right, Dan.
So I think one way or another, 2021.
It's got to get better.
We're coming out of quarantine. One
way or the other.
We breaking out or they letting us out.
We've had enough.
I think you're right, Dan. I think that's a hilarious point too, man. One way or the other, this shit's gonna be over with.
Yeah, enough is enough.
No one's gonna have a grandma or a grandpa, but one way or the other, we're going places next year. We're going, you know, vacationing. We're going to concerts. One way or the other.
Hey, Dan, thank you so much for joining us here on the Gray Area, man. We appreciate you.
Can you tell us how everyone can find you online? And
they can find me on social media at Dan Naturman on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, just at DANNATURMAN.
Mm-hmm.
And fine. I'm easy to find.
Yeah, Dan's obviously a really funny guy.
You should be able to find me at the Comedy Cellar, but that's over.
Yeah. Well, when that does open up in 2021, come hell or high water, go down there and check out Dan. He's a super funny comedian.
There and wherever else you see me. Talking with you guys.
Yeah, Dan.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to, maybe one day when we break out of this quarantine, making it up to New York and meet you in person, brother. I really enjoyed this convo.
Time you can to New York. I mean, you've never been your whole life, so.
Yeah, my brother lives up there. I get up there every once in a while.
Man, I heard tickets are like $65 round trip.
Dude,
right
I flew my brother down here for like $40.
Yeah, I'm thinking about just like kidnapping my son and going.
There you go.
You said you've never been, right?
I've never been.
Yeah, so it's time.
The city's yours, man. You can literally, there's no lines for anything. You can literally do whatever the fuck you want. Anyway, you can go to Central Park.
I can go to Central Park. It's so big.
They might arrest your ass, but you can at least look at it.
Hey, but we do appreciate
thanks,
you, Dan.
Dan.
Thank you so much. Look forward to doing work with you.
Yeah, take it easy, Dan. We appreciate it. And we appreciate everybody listening to me and Aaron Cheatham here on the Gray Area podcast, brought to you by Hot Pie Media. We are filming and recording right here in the in downtown Austin on the shores of the Colorado River. Beautiful, beautiful studio. I want to give a special shout out to Hot Pie Media for putting all this together, producing.
Shout out to Dan for jumping on the show.
Yeah, Dan, thanks big time for being on the show.
Chad, you want to tell them where they can find us on the socials?
You can find us podcast The Gray Area on Instagram.
Hold on. Wait, let me play some smooth Kenny G in the background while you do it.
Okay.
All right, start again.
Yo, you can find us on Instagram, podcast The Gray Area. Find us on Twitter. I don't know what our handle is on Twitter. What the fuck is our Twitter handle?
It is Gray Area Podcast.
And then hotpiemedia.com/Gray Area, the Gray Area Podcast. For our guest Dan, our producers here at Hot Pie, Aaron Cheatham. Good to see you, brother. As always.
Always a pleasure. Thank you guys again for tuning in. And until next time, be kind to each other. Here's mud in your eyes. We'll catch you on the flip.
Peace.
Thanks for listening. You can find more episodes and all other Hot Pie Media originals baked fresh daily at our home on the web at hotpiemedia.com, the Hot Pie Media YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts.